So I have a Mike Scioscia story, which is kind of funny. So you played for Mike, right?
Absolutely.
So we used to give him a car to drive. He was very generous with his time. He did stuff for us for the Boys and Girls Club and all kinds of stuff. And one time he just asked me, like, hey, is there anything we can do? And they just won the World Series. And I said, I would love if you'd come in and talk to my managers. And so I had about 420 employees, which meant I had about 20 managers, assistant managers in the whole business. And so we're all crowded in this conference room, and he comes in, takes pictures with everybody, signs autographs, and then I start asking him questions. And what had happened that year is they'd kind of gone into a slump. And then they just went on this run of winning. It was just clear that one day there was losing and then there was just winning, and they ran through the playoffs, won the World Series, which is a huge deal at the time for Orange County, California. And I asked him, like, when you were in that slump, how did you turn it around? Like, what did you give a speech? Did you call a meeting? What did you do? And he goes, I didn't do anything. And I'm like, okay, that didn't go good.
That's anticlimactic.
Yeah, it was super anticlimactic. And he's very kind of unassuming. He's just really nice. So then I ask it again. He's like, no. Then I kind of try a third time, like, well, what changed? Because it was clear something changed. And he goes, I get that you're asking me the same question over and over again, but what you have to understand is these are professionals and they want to win. And there's no speech that I'm going to give that's going to make them win. And that change in momentum happened naturally. There was no speech. There was no line in the sand. And in that moment, I realized I didn't understand baseball.
Yeah, no, I think I kind of, hopefully I understand where he's coming from, because I had a chance to play for him. He's one of the greatest ever, player and manager. And I think what he's referring to, and I'll loosely quote Kobe Bryant, who we're all big fans of, I know, because of not only where you guys are at in geography, but also just because of the great individual and competitor that he is and was. He says, it's all about the process. Okay. And the process is the same whether you win or you lose. All right. And this is something that's really interesting. I remember sometimes as a young kid, I'm looking up at, whether it be an NBA game or the NFL, and there's a post-game interview and they just lost. And I'm like, how can they go interview without crying, without heavy emotions because they just lost the game? And then I heard Kobe talk about it. And he's like, after a game, like, you're still in the process, and the process is the same whether you win or you lose. And you ask yourself, what happened and why did it happen? What went well? Okay. What are the things you want to do better? And they have this process of daily evaluation. And so to them, whether you win or you lose, you're just still stuck in the process. And when you go out there and you play well and things go well, you do the same thing. Okay, why did I do well today? Was there anything I did that really stood out? And then they just go repeat tomorrow. And when they struggle and make mistakes and make errors, because they are just like us and they make lots of mistakes, instead of going emotional, they just go back to that process. Okay, what did you do well? What do you want to do better? And how are you going to do it? And so there's just this continual cycle of, attempt to execute, which is their game. It's just an attempt at execution. That they could change the game to execution. That's all we're looking to do. And then when you don't, instead of getting upset or disappointed or super ecstatic and excited, then they go into the evaluation process and then they set the plan for tomorrow. They go practice it before the game. Okay, here's what I struggled with yesterday. Here's what I need to get better at. Let me put my work in. Boom. Now the lights come on. Let's go execute. And they just stay in the process, whether they win or they lose. And I think that's what he's referring to. Is just, these guys are professional. And when he says they're professional, he's like, they have a legitimate process and they do all they can to master their process on a daily basis, because it's the boring old habits that make them so good at what they do.
That's great. So is it true when you played for him that he was soft-handed? Like, he wasn't a rah type guy?
Yeah, you don't get a whole lot of rah at that level. I think because of what he said, everybody understands and respects the fact that everybody that makes it to that level are very professional, and I think it's important for us to understand as fans, as parents, whatever it may be, if we have kids playing sports, that there's no one that goes out there and attempts to make a mistake. And I've yet to even playing professional baseball all the way up to the big leagues, and even coaching it a little bit now and this and that. I've yet to find an umpire or a referee that intentionally made like was out to get you as a parent or a coach. We all are out there honestly trying to do our very best, and that's hard for us to remember it sometimes, because there's some people out there that are making some silly mistakes. And the reality of the situation, it's not about if you're the best. It's not about even if you're good enough. At the end of the day, the whole goal is just to focus on, can I be better than I was yesterday? And that's what we're chasing, and that's what they're chasing. And I think that's why they don't get bored of the game at any time, because they're just chasing growth and they're chasing progress. And it doesn't matter if they were the MVP last year or whatever it may be. Their goal is just to get better today than they were yesterday, and to just roll that out there every single day.
Thanks so much for watching this clip of Service Driver Revolution. We're uploading new stuff every day, so make sure you subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss out. If you have a question you'd like us to answer on the show, call 8333-ASK-SDR and we'll answer your question on the show. That's 8333-ASK-SDR. For special deals on our books and training, head over to offers.chriscollinsinc.com. Now that's offers.chriscollinsinc.com. I'm Chris Collins, and I'll see you in the next video.